Welcome, everyone, and welcome to this evening when we're going to be talking about Austria, beautiful Austria. So make yourself comfortable. So we've got lots of people already in early, so make yourself comfortable, and because we'll be introducing the evening properly in a couple of minutes. So I'm Lynn Hughes of Wanderlust, and as I say, welcome this evening when we're going to be talking Austria. We've got some great speakers, some great videos. So make yourself comfy, make sure you've got to drink, and start dreaming about the mountains and lakes of Austria. Don't we all wish we were there? So welcome, everybody. If you're just joining us now, we will be introducing the evening in a minute. And yes, do get into the chat box. Welcome, Valeria from Italy. Welcome. And Linda from Chippenham. So we do like to cover the world on these. And coming and thinking fast, we've got people joining us this evening from Norwich, Farnham, North Norfolk, Dorset, Darlington, Devon, Potters Bar, Manchester, Worcester Park, the Netherlands, welcome, Cornwall, and London, Vienna, sunny, is that Hewick, Germany, Edinburgh, Canada, Boston, USA, very international tonight. Portugal, Carmentia, I can never say that. Denmark, hello, Christian from Denmark. So welcome, Berkshire, Crowthorne, Wiltshire, Cockermouth. Lovely, we've got some lovely places joining us. So do say hello. Sorry, we've got too many people for me to read them all out. But as I say, make sure you're comfy, and I'll introduce the evening properly in a minute. We are going to have a quick poll, as we often do on these events. So we're throwing out a question. Are you planning to travel to Austria this year? So if you could let us know and just answer the poll, that would be great. And meanwhile, yes, do continue to say hello as well. We've got Zoe from Spain, Christopher from Epsom. So welcome, Tipperary Island. Oh, Zoe from Tyrol. And Tom from St. Albans. Welcome, everybody. And yes, if you can do the poll, that would be great. Are you planning to travel to Austria this year? Now, I know a lot of people are probably a bit like myself, are a bit uncertain of what's going to happen this year. But it will, if you think you're going to be traveling to Austria this year for sure, then do let us know. And that's always really useful information for us when we are talking tonight. So we'll just give it another couple of minutes. We've got somebody from South Africa. Welcome. And Long Island, New York. We really are covering the world tonight with our audience, so that's great. And Elizabeth from sunny Costa del Borno, she says. Well, up here in Windsor, it's actually rather cloudy. Patrick from Virginia, USA. If you haven't filled the poll in yet, yeah, just fill that in. And but I will be introducing our guests in a minute. We've got quite a lot of people I know joining us, so just going to give it another minute or so. Somebody else from Germany joined us. Deborah, welcome. And Southampton. So yes, sunny Northern Ireland. So right, and I think we'll just finish that poll then, and I'll introduce our guest tonight, because we've got a packed hour or hour and a quarter this evening. So I think the sooner we start, the better. So welcome again, everyone. I'm Lynn Hughes, and I'm the founding editor of Wanderlust magazine. And really looking forward to this evening, which is brought to us by Austria. And I'm sure all of us have been just itching to get back out there, get back out into the outdoors, get back out into nature. And so this evening, we are going to be very much looking at those topics. We're going to be looking at walking and hiking in Austria. We're going to be looking at being out in nature and the benefits of both of those on our well-being. And so we have some terrific speakers tonight. I'm delighted to welcome, first of all, Sophie Radcliffe. Now, Sophie is better known to a lot of people as Challenge Sophie. And Sophie's a mentor, adventurer, inspirational speaker, and the founder of Trailblazers, a youth empowerment initiative. Sophie's mission is to champion ordinary people to achieve extraordinary things. And her mantra is "One Life, Live It," which I think anybody who reads Wanderlust will agree with. And Sophie has done all sorts of challenges and adventures, far too many for me to mention. But she is the only person in history to climb the highest mountains in all 8 Alpine countries and to cycle between them. So incredible stuff. So we'll be hearing from Sophie on her journey from, as she puts it, the meeting room to mountaintop, from a 9-to-5 office job to a life in pursuit of adventure. And she'll cover her travels in Austria and the reasons why all of us should get out there and having a walking adventure this summer or as soon as we can. And after Sophie, we'll be welcoming Michael Hatch. Hi, Michael. Michael has worked in outdoor and educational tourism for over 30 years. But last year, and I can't, what timing, Michael. Last year, Michael founded Rock Forest Rivers with a friend, which is a travel company organising mountain hutting, canoeing and wild camping adventures. So probably not the best time, Michael, perhaps in hindsight, to start a travel company. But but it does sound really exciting. I've had a look at your website and it looks terrific. So their hope with the company is to allow more people to experience truly wild places. Michael fell in love with the Austrian Alps in his 20s, and there's nowhere he would rather be than in a remote mountain meadow surrounded by flowers. And that just conjures up a picture straight away, doesn't it? I think we all want to be up there. And after Michael talks, we'll of course be having a Q&A. Now, obviously, during the talks, you are very, very welcome to put your questions anyway and your comments into the chat box. But we will then have a Q&A towards the end, in which we'll be joined by Hannah from the Austrian National Tourist Office. Hi, Hannah. And indeed, it was Hannah who recommended Michael to me as a speaker, saying he knows so much about Austria, he really is passionate about it. So as you can see, we've got some great experts tonight. And then just before the end of the evening as well, we'll also have a very special couple of minutes where we can all relax and recharge together while thinking about Austria. So as you see, we have a packed evening, lots to cover. So I think to get us in the mood, get us started, we will start with a video from Austria.
Where do we find peace and quiet when we need it? How can we make life about the journey, not the destination? When did we last spend time with our inner child? Nature alters our senses. It offers clarity and orientation. Let's take some time together, instead of chasing after it. What does it take to marvel at little miracles? How can we turn silence into a feast for the ears? At what point did we lose our ability to slow down? The answers to our questions have always been deeply ingrained in our genes. Nature provides what we need. It is a source of relaxation and renewal. Let the joy flow. Let's enjoy the present moment. Let's connect with our roots. It's like coming home, in nature, in Austria.
Great. Want to be relaxing in nature in Austria. So let's welcome back Sophie. And Sophie, great, Sophie. So I know that will have really, that video will have really struck a chord with you. So without further ado, I'm going to leave it to you.
Thank you, Lynn. Good evening, everybody. It's so wonderful to be here with you tonight, and really excited to share a few stories with you. I just wanted to kick off by saying that if there's one feeling that I wish I could package up and share with you tonight, is this feeling of standing on top of a mountain and how nature makes me feel. I've never felt more alive, free, strong in myself than when standing on top of a mountain, you know, with the wind blowing blowing around you, the clouds shifting to give way to a beautiful sunset, my heart and lungs beating. I literally feel on top of the world. And there's something about being out in nature in this massive expanse with the flow of water from the rivers and the vast expanse of the wilderness that makes me feel all the things that I love to feel afraid and protected and confident and happy and free and alive. And I just would love you to take a moment to send one word in the chat box about how nature makes you feel. And I feel that after the year that we've had, we need this feeling more than ever. And I'd love you to share whether you feel that as well for yourself. It's just, you know, it's such an incredible place to be. And after a year of us all being stuck inside our homes and, you know, no doubt dealing with many different challenges, I know I'm not alone in just dreaming about these feelings. And when I was putting together my slides for this evening, it was wonderful just to look through them and just to kind of see all these moments that I've experienced and give myself a moment to dream about what I might be able to experience in this summer and beyond. And I hope that you take a moment tonight to just let yourself dream and let yourself envisage, you know, how you want to be feeling this summer and what you want to be doing. And I'm sure that you have many amazing plans. And so I wanted to start off quickly showing a little bit about me. I have created a life in pursuit of adventure, but it's not where it started. I started as a 20-something-year-old, graduated from university and got a job in a London technology startup doing sales. And this is me with my team on our Christmas party when we all dressed up. And when I started my job, it was something that I never envisaged myself doing sales in a 9-to-5 office job, but it was where I found myself. And I felt very limited and very kind of restricted by the boxes placed around me. And I was trying to pursue what I thought was the right things to pursue in life to create a happy, fulfilled, successful life. And that's why I ended up in the office. But I felt very restricted, and you know, I had a lot of energy and a lot of motivation to challenge myself, and that's where I found the mountains, and that's where I found adventure for the first time. I have no background of being really sporty or adventurous through my family, and it was just this pursuit to challenge myself, this desire to challenge myself, that took me to the mountains. This is something that I experienced as a young 20-year-old, and just carried on following that feeling. And so my challenges and my adventures whilst I was working my 9-to-5 job took me from all different corners of the earth, from adventure racing in Borneo to hiking in England and climbing Mont Blanc in Chamonix in the French Alps. And years later, they actually took me to deciding to quit my job, to leave behind the life that I created and go off and explore what I really wanted to do and what I really believed I could do, and really explore who I really believed I could be. And this quote, "A ship in the harbour is safe, but that's not what a ship was built for. Go sailing." That was the quote that actually inspired me to cut that rope and to be brave enough to go off and create a life that I really, really love. And that was almost a decade ago. And here we are. And I just wanted to share with you tonight some stories about my travels to Austria, and a couple of things about what the outdoors and what adventure and nature mean to me, what they've brought to my life, and to hopefully inspire your wanderlust for this summer and beyond. So this idea of don't let the world define you, I feel that everywhere we go, and we're always told constantly with messages bombarded into our daily lives of who we should be, how we should look, what we should be doing with our lives, what other people's definitions of success are, and other people's ideas and advice and all these kind of things. And I felt that was really restrictive. And when I went out into the mountains and I went and, pursued adventures, then I realized that there are no limitations and there's no barriers out there. And it actually strips you to the core of who you really are, and shows you who you really are when you're out there in the elements, in nature. And it just, those feelings just completely and utterly changed me. And like I said, for me, being on top of a mountain at sunset is just absolutely where I want to be. I feel so free and strong. And I feel that that's a really important feeling. And this idea of challenging yourself, of finding challenges that show you who you are, is something that's really important to me as well. And it's, as Lynn mentioned, I am known as sort of Challenge Sophie. And I think that we all, especially with what's happening this last year, we all need that opportunity to find out who we are, and to challenge ourselves, and to live our lives. And it's so easy we've got all of these kind of fears and doubts and limiting beliefs that go on, and it's so normal for us to have those. And for me, the idea of challenging yourself is to put myself in that situation where I actually get to challenge those fears and challenge those limiting beliefs and challenge those ideas that I might have about myself, or that other people might have about me, about what I can and cannot do. And then I go into the mountains, and all of a sudden the world completely and utterly opens up. And I realize there's really no limits of what I can and cannot do, and what we all can do, and what we can all feel and experience. And falling in love with this life of adventure has taken me to trying all different kinds of things. And a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to go to Leogang and to try downhill mountain biking for the first time in Austria, in the beautiful Austrian Alps in Leogang, and do things that were just completely crazy, looking at these jumps and thinking there's no way I can cycle down that, but then actually being able to do it. And then at the end of the day, going back to this beautiful hotel that I was in, and experiencing this mountain life program where there was yoga, and there was this incredible outdoor pool overlooking the mountains, and beautiful walks in these amazing trees and greenery, and there was exercise on the balcony, and all different kinds of things. And for me, that is the absolute dream. I love nothing more than to go and be active during the day, and then spend the evening, or have one day being active, and then another day just relaxing and just letting it all settle, and just being in that moment, and really that sort of mindfulness. And the combination is the absolute dream for me. I love to challenge myself, but I love to relax and enjoy the feelings afterwards, and wake up the next day and think, I achieved something yesterday, and I had an amazing day, and I've got all these amazing memories and experiences, and now I can just relax and enjoy this relaxation part of it. And at this hotel, they had this incredible room, which was a silent room where you could go and lie on all these beautiful sort of lounges and benches and things, and just look at the world. And I feel that this is something that we often miss, is just, the opportunity to just be, and to just be in that sort of that stillness. And nature is the most incredible place to do that. And so one of my favorite quotes is this one: confidence is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. And I really love this, because confidence is something that's so important to me. And when I was growing up as a teenage girl, and as a young woman, I really struggled with confidence, and I wanted to be confident. I wanted to know myself, and to be proud of who I was. And I didn't find the way to be confident until I went into the mountains. And I want to tell you a story about a trip that I took all around Vorarlberg in Austria. And it was a ski touring trip. So we basically spent the days ski touring up mountains and then skiing down them. And then we instead of staying in one place, we went all over the whole region. And every night we were staying in these remote mountain huts or little villages and towns, beautiful hotels. And it was just this, we ski tour through 5 different regions, off-piste and on-piste. And this way we had an opportunity to experience it all. I've never skied so hard or laughed so hard in my whole life. And a lot of the people I was with were very advanced skiers, and I'm not. And at the beginning, I sort of had this survival strategy. I was like, I just need to survive this trip because the skiing was quite extreme for me. And then it turned into being one of the best weeks of my whole life and just making really wonderful friends. And so these experiences for me that feed our souls, and I just feel, we need this now more than ever, considering the time that we've had, to connect with nature and ourselves rather than the world through a screen, to press pause and just to focus on us, on what makes us feel alive, or whatever that word is that you entered into the comments at the beginning, just to really experience that and have those moments, and to create those memories that will last a lifetime. And so back to the beautiful room that I was in when I was in Leogang. And, when we share these experiences with friends, when I look back on my life, those are the moments when I was outdoors, when I'm in nature, when I'm having these adventures. They're the moments that I remember when I look back on my year, as I do when I reflect when I get to the end of the year, before New Year's. It's these adventures that I cherish the most and I miss the most. And I really just cannot wait to create some more. And feeling alive is just so important. I think in our day-to-day lives, we can get so caught up in the feeling overloaded with our obligations and never-ending to-do lists and being pulled in a million different directions. And sometimes we forget almost how to live. Sometimes we forget what it feels like to feel alive and to do those things that are purely just for us. And I feel that when we go walking, we're in the mountains, then that is an opportunity to do that and to really feel alive. And I just want to show you a quick video, which is something that I made about with the BBC about walking with my friend, to sort of share that story a little bit.
One of the things I love to do is to get away from the hustle and bustle and the pressures of everyday life and just take the train away from my city to the countryside and just go for a really lovely walk.
I often love to come out and go for a walk. It's a way of processing everything that's going on in my mind. We haven't even checked our phones since we've been out here. We have no idea what time it is. I don't know who's sent me an email. And reality is it doesn't matter. The rest of the world can wait. One of the best things about being outside in nature is that if you're feeling stressed or you're feeling a bit down about yourself, the peace and quiet that you experience when you're out here is just really, really refreshing. This is completely free. It's just a lovely day out. It's such a simple thing, but it can really bring so much to your life.
And the power of pressing pause. Sorry, I just got something in my throat. 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. Do you ever feel like you are giving and giving, but really, sorry, I don't know what's going on. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Do you ever feel like you're giving and giving, but really taking a moment just for yourself to breathe, reflect, and restore your energy? And if you're nodding your head, then perhaps you could really benefit with some time out in nature. Stopping to let everything catch up with you. We're always chasing the next thing, working on where we need to be, the next goal. But when I press pause, when I'm out in nature, sitting on top of a mountain, having a picnic, having a moment to myself, that's when I actually look back and look at how far I've come, and you really just like take that moment to appreciate life and just to be really, really present and indulge in the beautiful sounds and sights of nature. And you know, just to take that time for yourself, I think is just so important. And one of the things that I just absolutely love about Austria is the food, the culture, the people, the whole vibe of it is just so fantastic. And I've had some really, really, truly amazing experiences there. I absolutely love like finishing a day in the mountains, walking, and you know, thinking I really want to have like an amazing apple strudel, or you know, I love it when people say, oh, you've got to try this, and trying that, and going to these little cafes or these mountain huts and villages, and just, you know, and just indulging and just eating. And one time when I was skiing in when we were in Vorarlberg, we had a little surprise at the end of the day, and we basically got dressed up in I was in my dirndls and lederhosen, and got given toboggans, and we walked up the mountain with these toboggans, and we had this really fantastic dinner. And you know, eating fondue, cheese, meat fondue, all this kind of stuff. And then we actually tobogganed down the mountain back to the hotel, which was just so much fun. And it's just, you know, these moments, like when I look through these photos, and I just think I'm so grateful and fortunate to have had these incredible adventures. And I literally just cannot wait to have some more in the Friends. So, you know, these kind of experiences that money can't buy, that we just forget about everything else and forget about all of our stresses and worries and, you know, all the things that we need to do in the day-to-day life. And we're just out there in nature, just feeling that, activating all of your senses. And, you know, I just love to be, when I'm in Austria, like, I feel like everybody is so excited to share their home with you, or the place that they love, or, you know, it's just different. And that's something that really kind of inspires me. And so I just want to leave you with this this quote. It's by Maya Angelou, and it says, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And I've chosen that one specifically because that's, when I travel, that's what I want to feel like. I might sometimes forget what I did. I might sometimes forget the conversations I had with people, but I'll never ever forget how I felt when I was in that place. And I really feel that about Austria, that it's really this just absolutely stunning environment. It's got something for everybody. It's for me, as someone who loves adventures and being outdoors, it's just the most perfect place to be. But it's the way that the people, it's the way that the nature makes me feel, but also the people who live there. And yeah, so I hope I've had a lot of chance to share that with you tonight. I'm really looking forward to answering some of your questions later, and I'm going to hand back to Lynn.
Hi, Sophie. Thank you so much for that. And I think that really struck a chord with people. And, you know, we've just had such an extraordinary year, haven't we? And which none of us was envisioning. It's longer than a year now. And it's made us appreciate, I think, travel all the more. It's made us appreciate other cultures all the more. It's made us appreciate being out in nature all the more. And, you know, there's been some great comments in the chat box. And when you threw out what the word was, what word people thought of, you know, there were lots there like alive, as you yourself said, uplifted, calm, content, humble, rejuvenated. So I think we really are going to all appreciate it so much more when we can get out. I must just ask you though about when you looked at mountain biking. Oh my God, that looks scary where you were. I was reminded of Tom Cruise, who we keep seeing in the media this week, and his stunts. I mean, where you were cycling along the edge, was that as scary as it looked?
It was actually, I think it's the World Cup downhill mountain bike, and I'd never done it before. And yeah, it was really, really scary. But it's just, again, it is this incredible thing. Like, it's about the feeling, and you've got to really let go in the moment and just trust and go for it. And I know that probably sounds a bit crazy, but it really is. And it was just unbelievable. But like going back to that hotel at the end of that day and just knowing that, you know, feeling physically and mentally just like exhausted in such a great way, it was just a really great day.
Yeah, and just on the hotel, we've had a couple of people asking about it and its name. So I know Hannah's already shared the name of it, but we will make sure that that is in the follow-up email that we send out, because I think there's a lot of interest in that too. And
I can highly recommend it. And I actually remember the smell in the rooms of that hotel was absolutely incredible because of the wood that they use. It's like stepping into nature. It's just so amazing. I can't recommend that hotel enough. It's really incredible.
So that in itself, yeah, must have been so energizing. And I guess just to pick up on the challenge thing, because you know, some of us aren't as brave as you or as fit as you, Sophie. But I guess a challenge is going to be very personal to people. What a challenge is to them.
Yeah, 100%. And I always, that's something I really massively believe in and want to encourage, because everybody starts at their own level. And actually, you know, for me, not that long ago, running 3 miles was the biggest challenge ever. And I was really unfit and I wasn't sporty at school. And it's just been something, it's been my way of finding out who I am. But, you know, for everybody, it might be that you just want to go outside and have a really wonderful walk and, you know, do that. And I think just doing something positive for yourself, that's the main thing. And doing something that you feel proud of, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, terrific. Well, thank you so much, Sophie, and we'll obviously be seeing you later for the Q&A. Yeah. And now we're going to have another short video of Austria. Okay. Oh gosh, I wish I was sitting there by a lake. Doesn't that look wonderful? Okay, let's now welcome Michael Hatch of Rock Forest Rivers, because I think we've seen some great videos. We've been inspired by Sophie to kind of get back out there and in whatever form. So I'm going to hand over to Michael, who is a self-confessed Austria addict and knows the country so well, and is going to take us through some real recommendations, real expert tips on walking in Austria.
Great. Thank you very much, Lynn. Thank you, Sophie. That was a fantastically inspirational talk. What I'm going to do is, first of all, talk about some interesting facts about Austria in terms of walking that you might not know. Then I'm going to talk about 3 specific areas. And if you look at the little map on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see I'm going to talk about the area. It's got many different names, but I've called it the Ausseerland. It's an area which is very picturesque. On the way there from Salzburg, you might think you're driving through scenery from The Sound of Music, and you'd be absolutely right, because it's where The Sound of Music was shot. I'm also going to talk about the Achensee, which is an area around the largest lake in the Tyrol, and then finish off by talking about doing some mountain hutting in the area just north of Filzmoos, an area which is variously known as the area around the Bischofsmütze Peak, or also the Salzburg Dolomites is a fantastic name for this particular area. And finally, I might just say a few words about the company that I helped to found. So first, in terms of practicality, now there's a huge amount in the papers about trying to be environmentally friendly. And I just wanted to point out how easy it was to get to Austria by train. You can catch the 6:57 train from St. Pancras in the morning, and that will get you into Salzburg at 1 minute to 8 in the evening. If you live in the north of England or somewhere further afield, then what would be a fantastic idea would be to break the journey in one of the wonderful cities through which you go. You could break it in Brussels, you could break it in Munich, you could go to a beer hall, and then in a very leisurely way continue the following day by train down to Salzburg, and then wherever you wanted to go. So from St. Pancras through the wine areas of Germany to Salzburg, looking out the window, much better scenery than above the clouds in an aeroplane. So Austria, I feel, it really makes hiking very, very easy for you in many, many different ways. If you go to Austria in the winter or most Alpine places, then you can buy a ski pass, which tends to be quite expensive, normally several £100s. In the summer, all of the ski lifts are normally open from probably the end of May until the middle of September, possibly the beginning of October. And you can get a pass, which at a hugely reduced rate, say 50 or 60 euros for a week, gives you access to all of those mountains. So you don't have to, well, basically, you could, from your hotel, you take the cable car and you can get up really quite high. So that normally does cost something. Some places offer a free pass to use the lifts, but what is free are the buses. In most places you go in Austria in the summer, providing you're staying in a hotel in the area, the post buses will take you all over the place, and all you need to do is show the card that the hotel will give you to get a free pass there. In terms of following the paths, you might think, gosh, I'm walking in the Alps, I'm walking in the mountains, but it's really made very, very easy. This isn't unique to Austria, but it really is easy in the Alps. If you look at the signpost there in the center at the bottom, you can see that it gives the times to different places in hours. It's fairly pointless talking about distance, because people might think, well, it's three miles. That's something I can do in, I don't know, I'll do that in 45 minutes. But they don't take into consideration the fact that the up and the down. So they always give the times. There's a little color next to most of those routes. So red is sort of moderately difficult. Blue is fairly easy, and black is something you should really only do if you've got a lot of experience. When you're out on these paths, virtually every, I don't know, 100 meters or so, you're going to see that red marker to show you that you're on a path which is numbered, and that number will appear in the map. Now, should you be walking and the colors change to white, red, white, then you've gone over the border into Switzerland. And should you see that instead of red, white, red, it's just a red T on a rock, then you've really got lost and you're in Norway. But keep in the red, white, red, and you're in Austria. You're in safe ground. Now, another great thing about Austria is they have things called Wanderhotels. So these are hotels which are specifically geared up for walkers in different ways. The two people you can see in that photograph there, they're both local guides who 3 or 4 times a week will lead a walk from the hotel, and it's normally included in the price of your stay in the hotel. I've walked with the guide on the left, Misha, who's a wonderful guide. She really takes care of her groups, and she's also a qualified herbal botanist. So she can point out not only the flowers, but she can tell you what the medicinal value of those flowers are. This hotel is the last hotel I stayed in Austria. It's a very nice hotel. And again, they make it very easy for walkers, because one of the things you have to consider is, okay, where am I going to have my lunch? I want to have my lunch in a lovely meadow up the mountain. And so you normally would have to go to a store. You don't have to go to a store there, because they will let you take stuff from the breakfast buffet to make up your own lunch. And when you decide to go out on the walk, there is a bus stop right outside the hotel, and that will take you to the cable car. And as Sophie was saying, the Austrians are wonderfully friendly people, and I would strongly recommend that hotel. You can imagine that the last year for them, as for all hotels in Austria, has been difficult, to say the least. They also give walking poles. if your knees don't like going up and down, then that particular hotel will give you some walking poles to save your knees. Other ways in which Austria makes life very easy for you. Tourist information offices have a huge amount of information. I couldn't find a nice picture of a tourist information office, so I stuck in a nice picture of lots of flowers and a mountain hut. But the information sign is universal. If you're the sort of person who wants to do preparation before you go, there's a fantastic website called Bergfex, which gives you amazing details of walks for free all over Austria. You can see little drawings there. The lines in red show you the recommended walks. They grade them according to easy, middle or difficult. They give you the time, they give you photographs. If you want to use GPS, you can download a GPS track onto your telephone or onto a dedicated device. Gives you the ascents, the descents, just a massive variety of walking at all levels. So if you've settled on the area to which you're going, you can then use that to work out some walks. But the tourist office will always give you more information. Time of year. Sophie was talking a lot about the wonderful things you can do in Austria in the winter. Absolutely fantastic. I know Hannah from the tourist office, her favorite month is May. She loves it when the flowers come out in the valleys. If you look there in the bottom left, that's a typical picture of the valley in May. So you've got the beautiful early spring flowers coming out, and you've got the snow in the background. Moving up one, you've got the Alpine rose, the mountain azalea, which tends to come out probably in June. Moving across from that, you've got an example of one of the many different types of Alpine gentian that bloom in the meadows. Wonderful, bright colours. And across again, there's the area I'll be talking about, the Ausseerland. They have a flower called the poet's narcissus, which simply covers all of the fields in the early part of June, and they have a big narcissus festival. Autumn, Sophie's favourite time of year, is a beautiful time to travel. There are far fewer people there. The air is clear, and you get these wonderful autumn colours all over the place. And I remember a wonderful trip I did in Austria, just walking through these meadows, wonderful autumn colours, and the barns as well, where the wood has been baked by the sun. Just fantastic colours. And I thought I would mention a bit of winter walking. If you want to walk in the winter, you can do. The snowshoeing, you put on, in the past you would put on things which looked a bit like tennis rackets. They're much better designed now, and they mean that you can walk really quite easily in relatively deep snow, and just get away from it all. So you're away from the ski lifts, and it's just you in the mountains. So it's in this beautiful winter landscape. So 3 specific areas of the Austrian Alps I'm going to talk about. In the top left there, you can see one of the 2 areas which are called the Austrian Lake District. And then I'll talk about Filzmoos and the Salzburg Dolomites, and finally the Dolomites. But before that, I'll talk about Achensee and the area around that. So I first went to the Alps in my mid-20s. I'd never been there before, and I couldn't believe there was anywhere so beautiful. I was absolutely bewitched. And the first place I think anybody goes to, which they really fall in love with, that always maintains a special place in their heart. And that's certainly the case for me in this area. The main town is called Bad Aussee. The little village, which you can just pick out the houses of in the top picture on the left, that's Alt Aussee. One of the James Bond movies was shot there very recently, in just a little hut. It was in the middle of winter. And the great thing about that place is that there are lots of very easy walks you can do. You can walk around lakes, you can walk through meadows. The bottom right-hand corner is an area called the Tauplitzalm, which you take a cable car up to, and then you can walk very easily between 5 lakes. So it's certainly a sort of place, if you want an easy alpine holiday in an area which many people haven't heard of, but which is very, very beautiful, that's a great area to go to. But it's also a great area to go to if you want some history. As I've said there, traditions, history, culture, and most importantly, cake. Now, in the top left-hand corner, you can see pictures of some women wearing the typical costume. In most areas of Austria, if you're involved in the tourist business, then you'll find that the women are wearing something similar to that, and the men certainly sometimes would wear the lederhosen or the typical Austrian jackets. The interesting thing about this area of Austria is that that is their Sunday best. So if they're out for a walk on Sunday afternoon around the lake, that is what they will be wearing. It's an area which is very, very deep in traditions. The picture next to that, some of you might recognize, it's probably one of the most famous pictures of Austria. It's called Hallstatt, and that's very close to this area. Moving across the picture with the ice formations, inside that mountain that you can see behind Hallstatt, you've got something called the Dachstein ice caves. At the end of autumn every year, they seal all the entrances to the ice caves. They let the winter blow through, and then April, early May, they open up the caves again, and they see all the amazing shapes that the winter has created within the caves. So that's something you can do if the weather isn't always beautiful and sunny. Inside that mountain as well, there is a salt mine, because the reason that Hallstatt was founded thousands of years ago by the Celts was that there was salt inside the mountains. And so the picture in the bottom left shows you people visiting one of the salt mines, actually the salt mine in Altaussee, not the one in Hallstatt. Now, during the Second World War, when the Nazis were worried about the Allies bombing museums and losing paintings and things like that, they put many paintings, some which were theirs, some which they'd stolen from other museums, inside the salt mine. And that would protect them from not only from bombing raids, but also the very dry atmosphere in the salt mines protected the paintings themselves. The Nazis were also active in the area. They decided that they were going to try and undermine the British war effort by printing hundreds of thousands of fake £5 notes. They would put those, drop those in Britain and cause massive inflation, and then they would go on and win the war. Well, that never happened, because they ended up abandoning the idea and dumping all of that money in a lake very close to Altaussee. And you can now do a really, really nice boat trip, which takes you to that lake, and you can see some of that fake Nazi money. So, and really, how can I forget cake? Sophie's already mentioned cake. The cake is wonderful in Austria. Austrians are the best bakers in the world. Okay, moving on to the Achensee. So this is the largest lake in the Tyrol. It's a place where you can do all sorts of different varieties of walking, easy walking along panoramic mountain paths. You take the cable cars up. You can do some, the picture in the top left-hand corner, that's taken only 20 minutes from the top of a cable car. Similarly, the picture on the right, it's about half an hour, the picture in the middle left. And then it's something more of a walk to get up that peak there. It's called the Rofanspitze, which is about 2,300 meters tall. But you take your time, it takes you about 2 hours from the cable car, no danger. And when you get to the top, there are those magnificent views. But it's also a fantastic area for mountain cafes. The three pictures, the ones in the center and on the right, show you mountain cafes which are really easy to get to, really easily accessible from cable cars. The one on the far right is actually a bit of a cheat. You don't even need to walk there. You can get the boat there because it's right on the edge of a lake. Also, if you want a sort of an Alpine escape to stay in a really nice hotel, hidden up a valley, possibly on a private road, so you need permission to drive up there, then again, this area has places like that. And those two pictures on the left-hand side show you really nice hotels, very remote, great food, really luxurious rooms, somewhere special to go and spend a few nights. And then finally, this is actually a holiday which we're planning on running next year. So there is a town called Filzmoos, which is south of Salzburg, and there is a peak called the Bischofsmütze. Now, those of you who are German speakers will know that the Bischofsmütze, that means the bishop's mitre. And that picture at the top, you can see that the peak does definitely resemble a bishop's mitre. Now, what we're planning to do is to do a 3-day trek around that peak, which crosses over the ridge. The ridge is actually shown in the map as the purple line. And you can see that ridge there. And you can see that the mountains really do resemble the sort of peaks which jut up in the Dolomites. So we're going around there, and we're going around there staying in mountain huts. So now some of you may have visited mountain huts. Some of you may have stayed in mountain huts. You can normally call in there for lunch. I think some people who know experience of them might think they're a bit like mountain bothies in the UK. So you they're really just there to protect you from the elements. Austrian mountain huts are really quite luxurious. The sort of picture you can see in the top left-hand corner is pretty much what you get in most huts these days. Bottom right-hand corner, that's more traditional. If you can pick out what's written on those blankets, it's the German word Fuß, which means feet. And that's because those blankets are not washed every day. So you bring a sleeping bag or a sleeping bag liner, and if you need a little bit of extra warmth, you put that blanket over yourself, making sure that the Fuß end, the foot end, is at your feet, and therefore you're not putting your head where someone else put their feet. These are fairly substantial buildings. The one in the bottom left, it's called the Hofpürgelhütte, and the only way you can get there is by walking. The top right is the Gablonzer hut, and you can get there by cable car. So if you want the experience of staying in a mountain hut, you don't just have to walk there. You could just take a cable car to go there. You can do that as well. So, as I said, our colleague Tom and I, we founded Rock Forest Rivers several months ago. We'd known each other for quite some time, and then we bumped into each other on a dog walk and got talking about starting a business. The idea of the company is to get people into wilderness areas, people who really want to dip their toe in the water, possibly haven't got any experience, want to have the benefit of a local guide. We feel that local guides are incredibly important. They add amazing value to a trip, not only in terms of what they know and knowing where to go, but just as people who can motivate you, can make you feel good about yourself, and can turn a great trip into a fantastic trip. Scotland, the Alps, Norway and Sweden, that's where we're going, as it says, local guides. And we're going to have adult groups, women-only groups, and then for people who want to bring their kids along. So thank you for listening. Thank you for Lynn and Sophie for what they've done, for Hannah for inviting me as well. And I hope you're all enjoying a really interesting evening.
Thank you, Michael. Oh, gosh, that was packed full of useful information and tips. I learned so much. Oh, I do wish that we had longer. This is so frustrating and so much I want to ask you. But I am conscious of time. So we will be having the Q&A in a couple of minutes. First of all, though, we're going to have a short video about Austria again, and we'll see you in a minute. Oh dear. Right, now I'm going to be by that fire as well. Right, I'm going to welcome back our experts in a minute. First of all, another very quick poll, because we're wondering now that you've seen videos, you've heard from Michael, for instance, so much about Austria. So quick poll, which season would you like to visit Austria in? And because this is something I know that people are always interested in. And what season would you like to visit in? So if you just quickly answer that. And summer and autumn are coming out. I mean, I must admit, I really, really, really want to go now in the summer or autumn. That does look terrific, doesn't it? And I think not everybody thinks of Austria as somewhere to go in the summer or autumn. So that's good. Okay, well, let's... I'm sure you've got lots of questions. So let's welcome back Sophie, Michael, and also get Hannah on from the Austrian National Tourist Office. And welcome all. I mean, gosh, I've personally learnt so much tonight, and I've been to Austria several times, and that was just so packed full of information and inspiration tonight. In fact, Michael, I've got to, because I'm very British, I'm afraid, sometimes. And one question I've got for you, you mentioned about the taking your lunch from the breakfast buffet. Now, call me old-fashioned. I've always kind of frowned about that. Is that really right that you can do it? And is that hotel? Place? In that particular hotel, you can.
In that hotel. In other hotels, they might say yes, that's fine. They might say there's a €10 supplement to pay. But I just wanted to point out how thoughtful the hotels, and that hotel in particular, in my experience, is thinking about walkers. They have the equipment, they provide the guides, there's a bus stop outside the hotel, and you don't have to go shopping. You can make a sandwich up at just up your breakfast. It's great.
Oh,
it's not ubiquitous. I wouldn't say it's common, but it's always worth asking. The worst they can say is no, we don't do that here.
Yeah, and I think while I've got you, I'm just going to ask you another question that's come in about the more mature traveller. And actually, 60 plus isn't very mature, really, I would say. But somebody has asked, how easy is it for a 60-plus-year-old to walk in the mountains? And are there any easy routes that you could recommend?
Yes. Again, that particular hotel in Austria, the Aachen-Hof, there was a German group staying in the hotel when I was there, and they were doing very easy walks. So they would take their coach to a cable car. They would go up to the cable car and they would walk, say, half an hour to a mountain cafe. If you were in the Austrian Lake District, staying in Alt-Aussee, yes, lots of easy walks. Again, you can take a bus up the mountain, up a windy mountain road, and walk from there. You can walk around the lake. You can go take to the area I showed, the Taupalitzalm. That's very easy walking there. So yes, just because these are big mountains doesn't mean that there aren't some really very easy walks. And if you go to that website Bergfex, it will give you a very good indication of just how easy the walks are. There are also very simple walks through the valleys, both of those rather boutique-y Alpine hotels that I showed. There are lovely walks through the meadows, flat walks through the meadows, past farms and animals, with surrounded by mountains, crossing rivers, on bridges, not on foot, which you can go to. Also, something this is not what we do, but I noticed in Austria when I was last there that electric bikes had become really, really big. Lots of people going around on electric bikes along very well-made tracks.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds good. I think we've all got very fond of electric bikes. Sorry, Sophie, I know you do it the hard way, but I must admit, I love electric bikes these days. Oh gosh, they make such a difference.
No, I'm a massive fan of them as well. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. No, I think they've revolutionised it, haven't they? And even if you are fit, for instance, it's just great when you're travelling with friends or other people, because it's putting you all on an equal footing, really, isn't it?
Well, you can also experience so much more of the, of the mountain environment that you're in, or whatever you're in, because The bits when you're kind of going uphill and it's a bit of a slog, that's not really what you're there to enjoy. You want to just see as many things as you can. And I think the electric bikes just give an opportunity to literally just opens so many more doors. And I really strongly recommend them.
Yeah, no, that is so true. And I know I've been guilty of being on hikes or being whatever, where you're so obsessed with getting to the next place or being at front that you're forgetting to take in everything. But I guess we can all be guilty of that, can't we?
Can I just say a word about the gentleman who was asking about the over 60s travelling? There are quite a lot of British-based walking companies, providing group holidays. They grade their trips, and they tend to appeal to people basically in their 60s. I mean, I used to work, if I can give them a plug, for Ramblers Walking Holidays. They stay in that hotel in the Achensee. They grade their holidays. They have a special brand called Adagio, which is easy walking all over Europe. Really easy walking. And the last thing I think any walking company wants to do is to rush things. You need to enjoy people's company, stop and see the flowers, breathe in that wonderful mountain air. What's the point of getting back to the hotel at 2 p.m. and twiddling your thumbs?
No, that's so true. So true. Hannah, what about somebody who's asking about how dog friendly Austria is? I mean, because I know, and it might not have been a British person who asked, but are hotels and restaurants dog friendly? Can you take dog up into the mountains?
Well, it depends on the hotel, so I would always check beforehand. But of course, there are hotels that welcome dogs. You can take dogs up in the mountains. You have to be a bit careful and take them on a leash, especially if there are cows around. But normally there are also signage as well on the kind of the rules that you have to follow with dogs in mountains.
Oh, okay, there is signage about that. Excellent. And by the way, as well, for anybody viewing, and I know some people might have to leave soon, but we will be sending up a follow-up email, and we will be picking the brains of Michael, Sophie and Hannah, so for place names and any of their recommendations tonight. So that will all be in the follow-up email. So also, Hannah, while I've got you, somebody's asked about obviously the current sort of travel advice and criteria in these COVID times. What's the current situation?
Well, at the moment, Austria is still in lockdown, and leisure travel is basically not possible. The hotels are not open. They are discussing about first opening steps in May, but it's a bit too early to say that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We actually have a coronavirus page on our website on austria.info where we always put all the updates. So if you're interested in the situation, you can just visit our website.
Okay, terrific. Somebody's come back because Michael recommended Ramblers Holidays. They said, but they're for super fit people. No, Michael, that's not true, is it? And you mentioned the particular program, L'Adagio.
Yeah, I mean,
L'Adagio, sorry.
No, really. Look at the website, give the office a call. You can do some quite difficult stuff, but the vast majority of trips that you do with them, or indeed with similar companies, will tend to be fairly easygoing. No, it's I used to lead holidays for them. I've led for other companies as well, and I can assure you that these are not designed for super fit people. There are. I mean, if you want to do a mountain hutting holiday, you basically need stamina to do that. But there is a big, again, talking about Ramblers specifically, if you go to there's a website you can access from their website called Adagio, as in the musical term. And that's, they try not to use the word slow, but they're going to be slow walking holidays, easy trails, taking a nice, easy pace, enjoy everything, enjoy life, take it easy.
Yeah, exactly, and enjoy nature. And also quickly, Michael, while I've got you, and this is for your own company, somebody has asked, what's the average age of the women-only trips?
I'll tell you when we run a trip.
Of course, because your company is so
We
new.
founded it, we're born of lockdown. Born in lockdown. So my guess is the average age. It's difficult to know when you produce something what age group it's going to appeal to. But my colleague Tom and I, we're looking at people in their 40s, 50s, but it's open to pretty much any age. So
you take somebody like me.
You're in your 20s. I'm not sure whether.
Oh yeah, if only. Now listen, we've got lots of questions, and also a few people are going. But what I want to do, and we will come back for questions. We're going to answer some more. But what we did want to do is, because we're very much about nature tonight and really getting into it. What we want to do is just those of you, for instance, who are fans perhaps of Spring Watch and Winter Watch, you'll have seen something similar. But we want to have a kind of special moment when we're kind of thinking about nature. So, Sophie, could you please kind of introduce our little special moment?
Yes, of course. And I'm going to start off with another quote for you. It's by John Muir. Thousands of tired, nerve-shaken, over-civilized people are beginning to find out that going to the mountains is going home, that wildness is a necessity. So just want you to take a deep breath and thank yourself for creating this time tonight to indulge in your wanderlust. This is a moment to let yourself dream, and just think of one word of how you want to feel this summer, wherever you're planning to go, whatever you're planning to do. Use the sights and the sounds of this next video to transport you there, and relax and enjoy.
Oh dear, that was joyous, really wonderful. Yeah, somebody's put that was carefree and felt carefree with that. Absolutely. That's just, you sort of had to lower your shoulders, didn't you? Wonderful. Well, we are going to serenity. Absolutely agree. We're just going to carry on with a few more questions, so we'll give it another 5 or 10 minutes, as obviously we do still have a lot of people on. Like I say, there was so much to cram into this evening. So a few more questions that have come in. Obviously, we've talked about gentle walks and the opportunities for those. I mean, Michael, that was such a revelation, for instance, about getting ski lifts up. Really like that idea. But what about the other end of it? Somebody has said they like doing really, really tough day walks and challenges. I don't know if Michael, whether you or indeed Hannah have got any thoughts on that, a really tough day walk or a particular challenge that you could join.
Do you want me to, Hannah? Say, well,
go ahead.
The area, the Achensee, it has quite a lot of black routes. These are routes with good degree of exposure at times. So you need to be, not only fit, but also have a good head for heights. Normally those trails are marked. Normally in German it says nur für Geübte, so only for people with experience. Sometimes there are fixed ropes. When I was in the Achensee, I saw people coming around a mountain, and they all had slings and carabiners and and helmets on. But probably the best way to describe the fact that walking is hard is that one of a tour leader I used to know, he said, and he was a real mountain man, I mean, a real serious mountain man, grew up in the Highlands of Scotland, loved the Alps. And he said the Achensee area was the best area he had ever been to in the Alps for hard mountain walking. And by that, that's mountain walking, which isn't technical. So in other words, it's not taking you across glaciers. You don't have to rope up with slings and carabiners, although you can. But yeah, and then there are lots of transalpine routes where you're staying in mountain huts, which are good. So yeah, there's everywhere. Have a look at Bergfex, because Bergfex will show you those big walks. Contact tourist offices. Again, they will tell you, give you some information. Also, there's a website I use called GPS Visualizer. It's a free website, and you can get really good maps with contour lines and paths marked on it all over the world.
Brilliant. Well, as I've mentioned earlier, we will make sure some of this info and some of these links and recommendations are in the follow-up email. We'll put Sophie's quotes in the email, because I know they've really resonated with people, and that will be fantastic to have. And somebody was asking earlier about any particular recommendations on areas for photography. Can anybody answer that?
Well, I would say that it's great for photography everywhere in the mountains. You just have the beautiful landscapes, you have the flowers. So maybe just choose the right time when you want to go for photography. I think if you choose a region that has a beautiful lake with a mountain in the backdrop, that's always a good tip. So as Michael already said, the Achensee region, it's the biggest lake in Tyrol. It's a glacier lake, so it's freezing cold but beautiful water. You could also head to the Tiroler Zugspitzarena, which is also famous for its really crystal blue lake and has a fantastic mountain, the Zugspitze, in the backdrop.
Oh, that sounds good. We'll make sure we put that in the email. Now, there's a question here I'm terrified to ask because I don't know how to pronounce it. Hopefully Hannah will help here. Are there many? What is that word? Klettersteig?
Klettersteiger. Yes, so it's basically everywhere where you have a mountain, you find a Klettersteig as well. I think basically every region has one.
What is it?
I think in English you call it what do you call it in English, Michael? It's the climbing routes. When you do. Yes. The Achensee does. I mean, there was a picture I had of a big cable car going up a mountain. 20 minutes from there, you've got Klettersteiger. They're basically mountain climbing routes. So they are actually mountain climbing routes where you'd go up on ropes or something, or is it a bit like a via ferrata? You can rock climb, or it could be via ferrata where you've got steel pins, iron pins, and rungs in the mountainside. Those are for serious mountaineers. Yeah. Okay. Terrific. And somebody in the chat box has also recommended for a couple of days. They've looked at a hiking challenge. Solbach, is that looks amazing. Thank you for sharing that link. That's really useful. We are going to have to wrap up in a moment. Yeah. So
water is I think it's a great way to kind of challenge yourself without having that technical mountain experience. And yeah, it's like that kind of electric mountain biking. You basically get to experience something to quite a sort of a more extreme level than you would if you were doing it on your own. And yeah, it's really amazing. Like, you probably need a bit of a head for heights as well, but it's going to challenge you a little bit. But it's a really amazing day out in the mountains. And there are really, really easy ones. So I'm not really a big fan, to be honest, because I'm a bit afraid of like when it goes steep down. But they're really easy ones that even I manage. And then there's really difficult ones if you want a bit more adrenaline. Okay, so make sure you pick the right one. I'm glad somebody's asked a food question at last. Hannah, what's your favourite cake? Oh, that's a really difficult question.
I think there's a reason why both mentioned cakes, because I think we really do love them. And my boyfriend always tells the story when the first time he came to visit my family, and everybody brought a cake. So there were like 3 cakes for 5 people, I think. So it's all about cakes in Austria, and I couldn't name my favorite one.
Oh, that's a bit of a wimp out. Michael, you mentioned cake. Have you got a favourite one?
I just remember I had good memories of the raspberry, of the sort of the tart, of the like the slices with fresh raspberries on the top. That was, I had a group in Austria once, and that was a real favourite of them. But I mean, if I'm allowed to like this as well, even though it's just over the border in Germany, the Black Forest cake, even if it's, I mean, the real Black Forest cake. That's yeah, I have fantasies about that.
Oh, really? Oh, gosh.
And you never go wrong with a apple strudel.
Apple strudel,
it's always a safe choice.
I mean, Sophie, you made a point of saying that you love the food and drink there. I mean, is there a particular dish for you, even if it's not cake? Is there something that for you sums up Austrian?
I can't remember the name of it, but Hannah, what's the name of the pancakes that are all cut up and?
It's palatschinken. Oh, yeah. Okay, you mean the Kaiserschmarrn.
Yeah, that's it. I really love that. I mean, for me, like I'm having kind of basically like cake for lunch is sort of a bit of a dream. So a country where that's totally accepted is really, really nice.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Right. I think we are going to have to wrap up. So one last question for all of you, I think, because I think you've really got us all excited now. So we're all hoping that we will travel. Okay, it might not be as soon as May, it might be later in the year, it might even be spring next year. But where would be the one place in Austria that you would be recommending to somebody? If they say, "Oh, I really don't know how to narrow it down," what's the one place that you would recommend? Who's going to volunteer to go first on that?
Okay, I mean, for me, it's that little village Alt-Aussee, because it's just magical. It's lake, mountains, traditions, cake. And good cake too. I think we've got to mention that in the email, because that caught my attention earlier on. That sounded amazing. Hannah, what about you? I know it's so unfair for you, and you're from the country and everything, but come on, one place.
I'm going to be biased. I'm going to my hometown, Innsbruck. I think it's just a great place. You have nature all around you, perfect for trips, and you have a city. And to make my colleagues happy, so I'm not only biased. I think another place that's really great is Graz. So you have like a lovely town. You have the Styrian wine roads around you. So if you're more into wine and easy hiking, cycling, that's a fantastic place as well.
Oh, now that sounds my sort of place, yeah. Easy hiking, wine, cycling, brilliant. Okay, last but not least, Sophie, even if you haven't been to it yet, where are you dreaming of in Austria? Where would you recommend?
I'd love to go to, oh my gosh, after Michael's presentation, I'd love to go to the Dolomites. I've never been to Zell am See, and the lakes the Lake District looks amazing as well. But I have really special memories from Leogang for sure, and from Saalbach as well. Both are just fantastic places for adventure lovers.
Oh, sounds excellent. Thank you so much. And we're getting the Dumpling Festival is in St. Johann is fantastic. So thank you as well to people in the chat box for your recommendations that have been joining in. And as I said, we will be sending out a follow-up email as well with some of the recommendations and with the recording. But all that remains really is me to thank everybody so much. So thank you to Hannah from the Austria Tourist Office, to Michael. That was, as I say, that was so packed full of information. We'll make sure we include a link to the website in our follow-up email. So that's Rock Forest Rivers, of course. And thank you so much as well to Sophie Radcliffe. I mean, that was really inspirational, and what a great evening. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Lynn,
for all you've done and for organising this.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Okay, good evening all. Let's go get some cake.
Yes.